Meeting the order. This is the meeting of the Joint Park and O&M Committee. July 31st, last day of July. I entertain a motion to approve the minutes from prior meeting. Ed? Any discussion, deletion, additions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Action agenda, none. That's the best part. Jeff, you have
Sure, thanks, Mr. Chairman. On the referral items, the first one is regarding the insurance requirements for the skate park, and I think we had heard from the county attorney's office about keeping the current insurance requirements in place as far as the use of So I think we can take that one off. I think that was resolved.
Okay.
And then the next item, we're going to talk about...
Excuse me.
So the county, the insurance stays the same, but village carries, county is named as insured.
No.
No. We continue.
Yeah, the village could not, or the insurance could not be separated for just the skate park and so forth. So I believe we still have, the county still has insurance.
Right.
Our own insurance, so. And as far as the BMX bicycles and scooters, we're
rules
still not
remain the
allowing
same.
them.
Right.
So they had a event in August, and those were not allowed, so we're still good on that. And I think we're going to leave it that way. We're going to leave it as the BMX and scooters are not allowed.
Oh, is that what they do? Not allowed?
No, you can't bikes share it with the skateboarders, correct? You can't let that.
Right.
Can you
Yeah,
do
the current rules don't
We're
allow...
not changing the rules. Rules,
Right.
Can you do one or the other?
No, the current rules don't allow anything except for skateboards.
Wow.
And it really came back to the design of the park was really designed for skateboards, and so when we got involved with non-skateboards, there was concerns that the park wasn't originally designed to accommodate other types of wheeled things.
Okay.
The second item is one that's been on there for a while regarding the South Parcel Operations Management Manual. That has been distributed a couple times, and we're ready to move ahead with implementation of that, and that's what I've got on the discussion items. So I think we can take that off of pending items. I didn't receive any comments from committee members or board members on that one.
Okay.
Under information for discussion and review, on the first page of the agenda, you'll see a MOU with Soil and Water, and this is for a portion of the Wetlands Operations Manual, which is a recurring annual inspections and reporting. And the concept that we discussed here, and then I've subsequently discussed with Jim Liebram, is to have them do periodic inspections of the site and then report back to this committee probably on a quarterly basis unless there's an urgent need for maintenance or repair of the site. And then from that, we will generate, between myself and Jim and the other stakeholders like LGA with Randy Raft, he's been involved, we'll develop scopes and estimates on how to complete different work items and then report back through this committee. But this MOU would cover those inspections and those development of scopes for the remainder of this year at a cost of $1,500, and then for $3,000 for 2018, and that would cover soil and water staff time in developing those estimates and reporting to the committee.
Excellent. Is that in our budget?
What we will do is the funds for this will come out of the deferred revenue account, which is the same account that we use for repair of the festival space, and for the conservation easement and the agreement between the five-way agreement between the 3 E's and the 2 M's, that's the original concept, and that's how we've been doing it so far.
Okay.
So this cost will be paid out of that deferred revenue account.
Okay.
I do have authority to sign this, so I just was hoping to get committee consensus on this. and then we'll go ahead and execute this, and then you'll see Jim on a periodic basis coming back and discussing work items with the committee.
Somebody like to move that? Edna? Craig? Any further discussion? Comments? Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried.
On the second page of the agenda is kind of a first take from the inspections that were done earlier this summer. Jim Lieberman and Randy Rath have been out to the site, and Jim put this letter together to summarize 8 different areas where there is some maintenance that's going to need to be done end of the summer into the fall. Our plan right now is for myself and Jim and Randy to meet out at site and develop these further into scopes and estimates, and then come back to the committee. So this is just a first glance at some of the items. We wanted to, I guess, get this out to the committee, and then our plan would be end of August to come back with some more specifics on what needs to proceed right away, what can wait until later in the fall or over the winter, and what the cost would be for those items.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? So you're going to get that over the winter? You have anything to add, Jim, or you all set?
Well, I think that we talked about actually maintenance. We talked about maintenance activities in September if there's some downtime. That way the ground has a chance to firm up, maybe it'll stop it raining by then. And then the cost estimates can vary depending on what municipal forces can be procured, because the towns and villages can be reimbursed for its trucking, which is the big thing. So then we're going to try to do this, the first heavy lift of doing the maintenance, I think, should be broken up into 2 years, so you don't have the open soil everywhere. So it'll still be functioning, and we'll have to coordinate that with the people who are doing the sampling too. So we don't have anything.
Great, thank you. Anything else?
I've got a couple things.
That's all I have. I guess I'll defer to the mayor if he has anything.
I'll refer to Lisa first. We were just talking about, go ahead, Lisa.
Okay, so I had a request from Alex Lombard, and the mayor and I have talked about this. He has the Lake George Music Festival, and he's paid his deposit, but he hasn't paid his $1,500 for the use of one day. And his question was, if it rains and he can't use the space, is that refundable? So I said I would bring it up at committee and we could talk about it. And
Yeah, it's a question that we really have to ponder, because it could set a precedent, obviously, for the future. And if someone comes in and rents the space, obviously it blocks that weekend, and I'll be passing out a final schedule for this year. And if you look at the schedule, we're booked solid. So if someone books and it rains for the weekend and he transfers the event to the high school, that may have blocked us from booking another event. So I think we have to think about that when someone like, for instance, Alex, which we know is a reputable operator, brings a great venue to Lake George. However, that weekend easily could have been, or that week could have been booked with another event.
Kevin?
Mayor, how have we been doing it in the past? Do we have a consistent
We haven't.
policy?
We've only had one event. Most recently, it was the film festival. They got rained out, but he had paid, and we have his money.
Because you really, if you start refunding, you're going to end up into refunding everybody.
Right, and if it rains half a day, and if it rains, a third of a day.
Right. I just think you need to come up with a set of rules, and that's the chance they take.
Right. I agree. I don't believe that we should be refunding any money to anyone unless it's in accordance with the rules that we set up at the beginning. Yeah.
Okay.
agree on that.
Is that agreeable?
Anything else?
I got a updated certificate of insurance for another skate park event Do that
The skate
September
park
16th.
event that was scheduled to take place, I believe it was a couple of weeks ago, did not take place.
Oh, it didn't take
No, the competition did not take place. So they called and wanted to know if they could run it again, and I said I would present it to the committee if they wanted to run just the competition. They didn't have any vendors, or they had a band, so not that. And if they could provide insurance, and they have, in fact. The insurance company actually gave them credit for that day, because I guess they felt bad because their money was raised by the young people themselves. And so we have a certificate of insurance now for them to do the competition on September 16th that they did not do prior. So my recommendation there would be that we just allow them to go ahead and utilize the skate park in line with our previous agreement. And they have paid.
Do you want a motion to that effect?
I put that in the form of motion.
Somebody want to second that? Craig? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's carried.
So the other thing was that when she originally paid for her event at the skate park, she gave us 2 checks for $250 each, and the deposit is $500. So we were going to accept the $250 as a deposit, and so we, Betsy wanted a resolution to allow her to refund $250 because it was out of the norm.
Because it was what?
It was out of the norm because it's usually $500, so the deposit is usually $500. And we received $500, $250 for the use of the space, and $250 for a deposit. So we want to accept the $250 deposit. Because they're only using just the skate park, they're not using the whole space.
So you want to be able to return the other $250?
Right, after
Yeah,
the September 16th.
So essentially, the resolution will set the deposit at $250 for the use of the
And
skate
then
park.
return it. There wasn't any problem.
Going forward, we'll use that $250 in the future as well.
I think that's
For the
pretty
skate
simple.
park.
It's limited space, and
I think that's fair.
Okay.
Make a motion to set deposit.
Mayor made a motion, you want to second it?
I'll second it.
Craig? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay, and as far as refunding Nico's and the Shriners deposits, I assume that's okay? There was no damage?
There was no damage to
Okay.
it for the circus or the film festival. That's what I know, right? Yep.
That's all I have.
Make a motion to refund their deposits.
Second to that? Edna? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead,
I
Jack.
appreciate the motions. I just don't want to set a precedent where we have to go to committee to get a motion to refund deposits.
No,
so.
no, I don't.
Oh,
So we don't really need it.
Don't need it?
I think,
Once
it was just
Yeah.
mentioning it for the
once we
committee's
do the
benefit.
inspection.
Yeah,
okay.
so usually what happens is, this committee sets the deposit for festival space is $500. After this next resolution goes, it'll be $250 for just the skate park area. But then once, it's intended to refund those, and usually it's a conversation between Dave and I after the event to make sure that we've checked it and everything's good, and then we refund them.
Okay.
I just brought
Without
it up
further
because I hadn't had a
resolution.
chance to talk to everybody.
We stand corrected. Mayor?
Then I have the final schedule for 2017 that I just printed this morning, showing 20 events, which is 5 more than we had last year. And you'll see that we were able to practically book the space solid from June until September 23rd and 24th. And in fact, just a week ago, we booked the Next Generation Car Show, which is slated to be held August 18th and 20th. Evidently, we're becoming the car show capital of the world. This is a show that was held over in Vermont last year. For some reason or another, about 4 weeks ago, they decided to move it. So I'm trying to call over there to find out why, but the gentleman who runs it is here. Has he brought down his deposit? He was
No,
on it?
not yet.
Okay.
No.
In any event, that's a brand-new listing, and it's only, as you can see, a couple of weeks from now. It's not intended to be a very large show, but he wanted to use the festival space for 2 days. We were able to find some occupancy tax money in the village to support part of his request for $3,000. But the rest of the 260th anniversary encampment is coming August 25th through the 27th. Obviously, Alex Lombard is using it to present his symphony orchestra on the 22nd, and the Independence Music Festival is Labor Day, followed by the Adirondack National Car Show, and then the Hemmings Concours Car Show, and then the American Music Festival. So that's our final, I think, schedule for this year. Bill, I was wondering if you wanted to present to the committee the status of the last element of the park, being the water feature, what the status is of that.
Bill, could you hang on just a second? Didn't you ask the town for $1,500?
I sent he asked me to ask the town for 15 and the village 15. That would give him his request, but I don't know.
We agreed to it.
Okay.
Ron, did you have something?
Just wondering, where was it held in Vermont before?
He told me just south of Burlington, Ron. I'm trying to find out, and I want to call over there to find out exactly why, because, you know, I want to make sure it's a legitimate, you know, a legitimate group and so on. So I was out of the office Friday, but I put a call into him today. Yep.
What is the format of that?
What is it?
Yeah.
It says it's motorcycles and cars from 1960 to 1980. So you'll be able to put your little
My junk?
junk in there. If he'll take it. I'm not sure he'll take it. They're pretty particular about what they do.
Maybe I'll wash it. Thank you. Billy, you're up. Thank you.
Our last feature at the park, which will complete our grant, is the water feature. The project has been designed and put out to bid this spring. The bids came back in higher than our budget, and the PMEC asked Elon to take a look at a scaled-down version of the water feature to see if we can hopefully hit a bid price that matches up with our budget. Logistically, what has happened is the water feature grant expires October 31st. And we have contacted DOS, and they verbally have committed to extending our grant until June 30th of 2018. The other grant that was for the main park expired on June 30th. The significance of that is we are 95% complete with that. We've got the interpretive signage still to put up, but our interpretive signage component came in less than the engineer's estimate. So we've got about $30,000 of residual that's going to be left in the grant that expired on June 30th. DOS has verbally agreed to extend that grant to June 30th of 2018. If we're able to pull that off, then that $30,000 will help us, and we can reallocate that to the water feature. It'll help us meet our budget figure. Bottom line is, after we maneuver the grants, we should have about $250,000 of grant money and match money available to fund the water feature. The big thing is right now we're going through a redesign. Alon Planning expects those documents to be ready to go out to bid the third week of August. We'll probably have a 3 to 4 week bidding period, and then we'll know exactly where we stand.
Great.
enough info.
I have a, Bill, I have a relatively new business in Lake George. He contacted the office the other day and is interested in bidding on that water feature. That's what his business is. So I'll get that information to you and you can send them out. Anybody have any questions? Anybody want to speak to the committee? The peanut gallery? Seeing none. Michael?
Michael?
Lake George Regional Chamber of Commerce and CBB. Mr. Chairman, committee, I just wanted to thank you for allowing us the opportunity to maintain the website for festival comments. We've executed the contract that was submitted to us last week. It's effective June 1, December 31st. We're working on a monthly retainer. Amanda Metzger in my office is updating it all and hoping to see some good things on it. So, and I know that Chris Hannafin is working with Amanda on the creation of our brochure that we can hand out at special events and sales missions. And then lastly, a comment regarding the issue of refund for rain day. Perhaps in the future, the committee can consider the investment in an erection of a Tinseltown tent that could be prominently displayed on the festival commons for perhaps as a backup to maybe not a large size event, but a mid-sized, smaller event. And it could also serve as a wedding reception area as well. Just a thought for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Anyone else? Entertain a motion to adjourn?
One portable stage, is that still?
The grant that we received from Senator Little's office approximately a year and a half ago is still being reviewed by the New York State Dormitory Authority, which Kevin was able to tell me would take us about a year and a half. He's almost right on the button. They're still reviewing it, so we have not been able to put it out to bid. The gentleman told me sometime in the near future.
I do, though, think if you keep persistent with them, you know, they'll eventually,
He was in Lake George 2 weeks ago, and I put the hammer on him then. That's when he told me in the near future. But you were...
Back to the Future?
You were right on with that. It's
Oh, yeah.
moving very
We know that.
slow.
Year and a half.
Year and a half.
Wow. Okay, we'll try it again. We ready to adjourn? Somebody want to make that motion? Edna? Craig? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you very much.
Did you hear from Robert Nolan? Have you heard from Robert?